This is a very unpopular topic because people are like, well, nutrient liver is like the most nutrient dense food. Why it doesn't make sense to not eat it? Well, if it's the most nutrient dense food, I'll just ask back. If it's the most nutrient dense food, does it make sense for you to only eat liver? Should you eat 2 pounds of liver a day? Like, you should really look into the nutrition facts of liver. It's extremely nutrient dense. I would even argue it's possibly too much, right? So, anyways, point number one, this whole trend of liver maxing, which it's cool. Like, yeah, you need liver; it's nutrient dense, it's good for this and that. Um, a lot of the narrative that talks in favor of liver often completely disregards that there can be an upper limit, or there is at least some risk to overdoing liver, right? Have to keep in mind the proportions that liver is found in an animal, right? So 400 to 500 pound. So a cow will yield like 400 to 500 pounds of meat, for example. And this is like a 1,500 pound steer, say. Okay, so out of that, you'll get like 400 to 500 pounds of meat. From that animal, you probably get like 10 to 15 pounds of liver. Okay, so that's literally, it's like maybe 1 to 2 ounces to a pound or two of meat, muscle meat. So if you're literally like eating like a pound in a week, that's probably too much. Um, because I will say there have been cases of people like overdoing it and not feeling great. There's actually human data that shows uh, issues. I don't want to say necessarily vitamin A toxicity because there's other things in liver like copper. Well, we'll dive into that. Um, that can be potentially harmful to your health. Uh, so actually, I, I posted some links, but I don't know if you can open them. 'Cause
Oh yeah, I might be able to. Um,
there's a bunch of links. It's
or
maybe it's too
or maybe
much.
not.
Yeah. Anyways, I think I know these numbers off the top of my head, but like consider this. Okay. So liver maxing often disregards potential dangers of it, and again, it's just something that should be included in the conversation. Most of these people, they're interested in selling you a product. Okay. But you got to recognize most of these people are salesmen. Okay. We don't sell these organ subs because we don't think they're necessary for your health. We think you should get everything from the food you eat. We think a well-rounded, diverse diet of animal foods, meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood, is probably most optimal for most people. Okay. So, what is the concern with vitamin A toxicity? Well, liver is extremely high in vitamin A. So the RDA, the recommended dietary allowance for vitamin A, is 3,000 IUs. Are you showing this on the screen? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
3,000 IUs. That's just IU is just international unit. It's just a standardized unit they use to compare the amounts of vitamin A. 3,000 IUs. 3 ounces of liver contains 15,000 IUs. 15,000 IUs. So even if you eat 3 ounces of liver, that is, there you go, 3 ounces. Nice. It's showing on the screen. Oh yeah, it's
Yes.
showing.
Yes. Yeah.
3 ounces, 15,000 IUs of vitamin A. So that is literally 5 times the RDA. Okay, so maybe you're having 2 ounces. That's 10,000 IUs. You're still no, 333% above the recommended daily allowance. And don't get me wrong, RDAs, they're kind of BS, but but the point I want to address here is that it's very high in vitamin A. It's very high in vitamin A. And vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin, but it does accumulate in your body. It accumulates in adipose tissue and it accumulates, guess where? In your liver. Okay? In your liver. The more you eat, it's going to accumulate in your liver. And this can lead to a point of toxicity. One egg contains around,
Here we go.
oh, here we go.
I got you,
So
man.
we're showing these numbers on the screen because we're not making it up. Look, Google it for yourself and trust your common sense. Like, could this be an issue? One egg has 260 IUs of vitamin A. Okay, so if you wanted to reach um, 3 ounces of liver in quantities of eggs, that's like 55 eggs. Okay, if you're eating 55 eggs, should there be a cause for concern? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but to me, these numbers are pretty alarming and pretty clear that there's something abnormal about the quantities you're ingesting these nutrients in. And consider how they accumulate. Again, they accumulate in your liver. Okay. Now, uh, what's the next one we have? Copper. Copper RDA, recommended daily allowance of copper, 900 micrograms. How much copper do you think there is in 3 ounces of liver? Okay, this is a 4-ounce serving, contains 16,000 micrograms. Copper can be toxic to your body.
More than 18 times your daily value.
More than 18 times your daily value. Okay, so there you go. So, focus on the data, right? Again, these are using RDAs. RDAs, we take them with a hint of salt, but they're pretty alarming number, multiples above what it's recommended.
Yeah, once you get into like those multiples ranges, right? So a recommendation says 900, and then something is like 18 times that. It's a red flag you should consider.
This is a 4-ounce serving. Okay, so if you're consuming like a pound a week, if you're consuming too much for too long, the accumulation will just keep on happening. I know people who've been doing this for a year or two. There might come a point where it just over accumulates to a point where it might be an issue. Okay, we don't know. Remember, there's not a lot of data on carnivore diets and this whole nose to tail thing, eating like our ancestors. Like that was that's specific marketing from some very particular figures who are selling you something, right? Who also look at the pattern, who also claim that the carnivore diet failed them. Okay, now they're turned into fruit eating, sugar coping, disguised rape eaters. Look at the pattern. Okay, look at the pattern. So we're just connecting data points here, or we're presenting the evidence to you. You decide for yourself. Do the research for yourself. What do we have here? Vitamin A toxicity symptoms, so drowsiness, irritability, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting. Also, signs of early signs of toxicity include they manifest themselves in your skin.
The skin subsequently peels.
Yeah. So, coarse hair, alopecia of the eyebrows, dry, rough skin, dry eyes, and cracked lips. Now, vitamin A toxicity is a complicated subject. We're definitely going to do an episode that goes in depth all about this if you're interested in hearing more, because we think it's an issue that is not being addressed in the community, and all this liver maxing, without proper warning, might cause harm. So we have a couple of studies here, just showing that maybe there's more into this than we expect, more than people are willing to admit. Again, because they're selling you something. Meat intake in relation to semen quality and reproductive hormone levels among young men in Spain. Now, mind you, this is entirely observational, but it's a starting point, right? It's a data point. We're not saying, this is the end all be all, but just look.
Yeah, associations of different types of meat.
Yeah.
And then measuring the semen parameters and reproductive hormones in young, healthy men. 206 men, 18 to 23 in southern Spain. They all did full validated food frequency questionnaires and went physical examinations and provided blood and semen samples. Then an analysis was made.
Yeah, right there. Total meat intake was unrelated to semen quality, but then subgroups of meat were separately considered, and those who consumed shellfish showed a positive relation to sperm motility. So I guess shellfish intake was associated with higher quality semen. Can I say semen on YouTube?
It's a scientific term.
Sperm. And then on the flip side, in contrast, can you highlight that part? In contrast, men who consumed organ meats had significantly lower progressive sperm motility and higher LH levels. So LH, luteinizing hormone, right? So in other words, they had lower semen quality. Again, entirely observational. It is a data point, however. So, again, high intakes of vitamin A, high intakes of copper. Let's go into the next one. So this study shows that inhibiting vitamin A metabolism as an approach to male contraception What? So, and again, we'll cover this in depth in a future episode. But what you got to realize, if you're ingesting vitamin A consistently, it doesn't allow your body to metabolize it or to detox it. Vitamin A comes in the form of retinaldehyde or retinol, which is an alcohol. So it either comes in aldehyde or alcohol form, and your liver is supposed to detox this via the same pathways that it detoxes alcohol. Okay, so while you're consuming alcohol, you're not detoxing that alcohol. The detox happens until after you stop consuming the alcohol. So that's when you get the hangover and you feel like trash. That's why they say the number one cure for the hangover is to never stop drinking, because your body, your liver, your liver can only do one thing at a time. It can only intox or detox. Okay, and detox follows the intox. Okay, makes sense? Yeah. So then that's what this article is saying. Inhibiting the metabolism works as a contraceptive in men. Okay, so if you're consistently consuming large amounts of vitamin A, you're not allowed to metabolize it. You're inhibiting the metabolism. This is basically a contraceptive, and there you go. And now we have a study, observational, mind you, that shows higher organ meat consumption with lower sperm quality. You've never heard this, right? And now, I think this is the most pressing point that we will demonstrate tonight. Again, we'll cover this in depth.
Golden rice?
Golden rice, yes. Look at this. Straight from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for Your Health and Safety. New golden rice partners join vitamin A deficiency fight. Bill and Melinda Gates. So essentially what they're saying is, blah, 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 blah. They're making this, they're addressing vitamin A deficiency by making golden rice. Golden rice is a unique type of rice that contains beta carotene, a source of vitamin A. Now, what other ventures is Mr. Bill Gates pursuing as well? Do we know? I think we've seen enough in the past 2 years. I think everyone who's watching this or who will watch this is familiar enough with Bill Gates to understand what it's really all about, right? Talking about jabbing everyone and basically running these crazy experiments across entire populations. I'm sorry if you were part of the experiment. And of course, we know he's bent on a depopulation agenda. He's openly stated so multiple times, right? On like the TED Talks and whatever. So, would you really trust golden rice from Bill Gates? What might be the end goal here, right? What might be the end goal? Okay. Look at the evidence. Go look this up yourself and stay tuned for our future episode on vitamin A. Anyways, I think I went for too long on this topic. Obviously, I feel strongly about it because, again, the salesmen, they completely disregard this topic, right? Just completely disregard it. I think if a bit more nuance was introducing to the topic, it might be better. And again, look at the pattern. The same people who advocate for these foods say carnivore didn't work for them, and now they had to add carbs back in. This is what the show is about. Is carnivore and keto harmful for you? Well, here's 4 reasons why it might be. Let's continue.